recording, yeah? Because you said go, so...
I did say go.
I mean, to be fair, you should say 3, 2, 1, record, because I could have just got up and walked away at that point.
How about 3, 2, 1, action?
Yeah, that'll work. But then they don't say 3, 2, 1 in the films. They do it quietly and just count on the fingers.
I mean, we could try doing that now, but I'm not sure it would work over sound.
No, it wouldn't work without the visual, I think.
How about I click with my fingers?
It's still audio though.
Yeah.
So they do it like that so that there's not they don't risk it catching on the thing or something.
And they probably don't go through all of this stuff because they know that they don't, like, awkward beginnings are quite an awkward thing for movies.
Yeah, but not for podcasts, because this is how we start ours. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Wargamers Anonymous with me, Josh from the Pickle Jar, and my esteemed co-host, Elston from Elstonation.
Good morning, darling.
Good morning. We are back. I know we said last time that we were back, and then we went away again. But we're back this time, properly. Apologies for the lack of episodes.
Yes.
I was at Golden Demon, and because I was there, we obviously didn't record that week.
Mm-hmm. And then the week after that, and the week after that, I had my son. I had him 2 weeks in a row because of, obviously, I'd missed the week when I was at Golden Demon, and we didn't get to record those weeks. And the opportunity we did have to record was my partner's birthday, so that ended up not giving us an opportunity to record. Yeah. So
it's all just been a busy few weeks, but we're back to our regular schedule now. So you've got this episode, and then it'll be every couple of weeks, on the Mondays, back to normal. So
back to fill your ear holes.
Yeah. If you enjoy what we do, if you enjoy the show, leave us a like, leave us a comment, leave us a review. Share it out with your nerd friends if you think that they would enjoy listening to us waffle on about hobby-ish related stuff. And yeah, let's just spread the hobby love. Elston, how are you? Because we've actually not really spoken that much for the last few weeks.
No,
like brief sort of messages passing, like ships in the dark. Mm-hmm. But other than that, we've not messaged as much as normal. So how have you been?
I've been. It's been interesting. Work is, from my side of things, my work is getting rather busy at the moment. We are going through an expansion phase, so yeah, I'm going through the rigors of being head engineer whilst the company is starting to grow, and now I'm like,
you're starting to grow.
I wish. So yeah, it's been an interesting little point of turmoil, not in a bad way, but yeah, there's been various other things going on. I've been painting like a madman. I've been spending a lot of my time over at Valrak streams watching that because it's quite. I find it quite entertaining as well. So, and he's going to be showing up in one of my videos in the near future. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. And I've got a wonderful clip which you're going to. It makes me laugh every time and if something makes me laugh that much, I definitely know it's going to make everyone else laugh. So, yeah, I've been good. I'll tell you what, I'll ask how you are first before I tell you what I've been painting and stuff like that. So how are you, old Capitan Pigal?
I'm all right, yeah. It's been a weird old few weeks for me. I think since the last podcast that we did, it's been a weird old time. Geek Gaming Scenics, we are now out of the unit that we were in. And the plan was to move into a different unit. We are back at Luke's for the time being.
Luke's unit.
So, Luke's upstairs of his house, the top floor. So back to recording videos there. So it's sort of like adjusting, getting used to filming there again. Mm-hmm. I've had plenty of stuff, so I've been working from home for the most of the last couple of weeks. I've only been into the studio, into Luke's house like twice, I think.
Okay.
To just do some little bits, and then the rest of the time I've been at home. I've started filming my own video for Geek Gaming Scenics.
Going solo.
It's just me going fully solo. So that's been fun. In terms of me and my channel, yeah, things have been pretty hectic. This last week, to be fair, this last couple of weeks, I feel like I have received 1 million packages with different things, and it's all stuff that I've kind of planned to do content on, but then it all turned up at the same time, and I had a couple of days where my mind was just like blurred, it's completely blown out and just shut down. Because I was like, I couldn't decide which I wanted to do first and how I wanted to do things. You know, when you have sort of plans lined up and you go, I'll do this, that'll be cool.
Yep.
And then I'll do this for a different video, that'll be cool. And then I'll do this for this one. And then everything arrived at once. And it to be honest, I wanted to have all of those videos out this weekend. And basically because my head couldn't cope with the amount of stuff, I ended up not doing anything. I have started filming a couple of them, but they're going to be out next week, probably now. But in terms of what I've been working on, actually, no, I'll ask you what you've been working on first.
Okay. Well,
because then it's back and forth, and that's how podcasts work.
Yeah, back like a seesaw. Yeah.
Yes.
So I have
that
been...
would be a fun image. You and me on a seesaw. You just stuck up in the air.
Yeah, like tangling. Like, can I come down now, please?
No.
I have. I've been. Interesting stuff has been happening. I've got through the bulk of the Iron Warriors project I'm doing for Valrak. I've just got to do some characters, and I'm waiting for him to send me the Primarch and then paint that up, and then that project is done and out the way. So there'll be a video coming up.
Valrak's what? Iron Warriors?
Yeah.
I thought he did Imperial Fists.
He does, but he got bullied into doing Iron Warriors because they're the enemies of the Imperial Fists. So his chap bullied him and said, I think it was like a thing, if he raised enough money, he said he'd do Iron Warriors. So he was like, I've got to do Iron Warriors. And I messaged him and I was like, if you want a hand, I'm a pretty quick painter. So he was just like, yep, Elston's doing it. And then,
so technically, he's not doing Iron Warriors. You're doing Iron Warriors.
No, yeah. However, there's basically the army's getting painted up by me, getting sent back to Valrak. He's going to do a battle report, and then it's going to be sort of auctioned off for charity.
That's cool.
So it's kind of like, yeah, he's kind of cheated on his promise to his chat, but at the same time, the idea is to make some money for the charity. And last time he did a army like this, he made £15,000. So
that's cool.
So the idea is to kind of eclipse that if we can. So yeah, as I said, that's kind of been done. I've been going into an interesting phase of trying to sell stuff to make room for things. So sadly, the Necrons are gone. Sorry.
I know. I am so upset.
Actually, I've got some interesting little characters for you as well, so I'll let you know about those. From
have you've got I know which one you've got.
What is it? Wargames exclusive? Was that the
cover? You've got the four-armed Necron Lord guy, haven't you?
What, the Mr. Grievous? Yeah, him and two others.
Ooh.
Yeah, including a spider lady Necron. Yeah, I'll let you know about those when we next meet in person.
Cool.
So I've been selling stuff. So the Necrons are gone. My Iron Jaws are gone. They never really made an appearance anyway. Videos on the Iron Jaws. The video I did recently. That came out the other day. It's a wonderful little thing, and I've created a character called the Narrator, and he's definitely showing up in more videos because he is wonderful. So yeah, go check that video out because yeah, he was really fun to put together. And yeah, I've been selling other things, including Thousand Suns. I have finished my B1 battle droids this morning. Nice. So I've got 50 of them all painted up. The only things I haven't done are the little
just 50.
Yeah, just the 50. They take longer than I thought they were going to paint. So just give you a heads
over.
Up. They do, yeah.
They don't.
Yeah, the color I put down, I went with Agros Dunes, right. And they came out not quite what I wanted, so I had to do a dry brush over them afterwards.
I tried out a few different paints when I was testing mine before I've started working on my big Star Wars project, which I'll talk about in a bit. I tried out a few different paints to get the colour that I wanted for them. So I tried out Skeleton Horde contrast paint. I tried out the Army Painter Skeleton Burn paint is. Their speed paint one. I can't remember what it's called. It's something Skeleton Burn or something.
Okay.
I tried out the Green Stuff World Dipping Ink that is the bone coloured one. And then I thought, I'll see what this looks like. And I tried the, is it Seraphim Sepia wash? So this is all over the top of white burn spray or wraith burn spray if you're using the GW one. And the Seraphim Sepia one actually looks the best. So I used that. I did, because I built one of the expansion boxes that I'd got. And just painted 4 of those. And I used that for the droid. And then I used, I think it was just the black contrast paint for the weapons. And I don't think it needs a dry brush because it's light enough already because it's just a wash rather than a contrast. So it doesn't darken them down quite as much, but it does enough.
Okay. I'm intrigued to see what yours end up like as well, because when we finally get around to having the Battle or Star Wars thing, just to see kind of the comparison, because initially I thought my Agros Dunes looked okay, and then when I looked at the whole lot, I was like, it just needs to be a little bit lighter. But maybe, hopefully that Seraphim Sepia is a better hack than my one. So, because,
Like I said, I tried them all out because I'd got that many different paints, which again, we'll talk about in a bit. But I've got that many, and I was like, I don't know which one is going to look best. So I thought I'd just better test them all. And surprisingly, I think it's just because it's more of a tint rather than a stain. And I know that sounds really weird because it's essentially the same thing, but it doesn't. It's not a paint; it is a shade, so it just tints the wraithbone color rather than completely covering it. I'm intrigued to see how it sits in the cracks, because that'll be the interesting thing. Because hopefully it's dark enough to still create the contrast. I'm curious to see how yours turn out. I'll send you some pics of mine so we can compare. And so what have you been up to hobby wise and stuff? What have I been up to? So since the last podcast, I put my video out that was where I'd painted the 3D printed female Space Ranger from Warp Miniatures.
Yep.
That was a really fun video to do. It took me a couple of hours to film and record and paint. And it was all based off of a video that I'd watched from of Ninjons, where he'd done the underneath spray and then the 2 zenithals and stuff. And I took that idea and just thought, what can you do with this? Using this more as your colours rather than just the base colour. And then, because the one that he did, he covered most of it up with the layering. And I wanted to see what happens if I just left that visible and then just added the highlights and maybe a couple of extra defining panel lines and stuff.
Sure.
So that video came out, and that was fun. I was at Golden Demon, which was amazing. That was a fantastic weekend. I was there from the Thursday right through to the Sunday. Got to meet a load of people, some of whom I have known for a while. I met up with Guy and a bunch of the GW people, and a few people from Instagram and Twitter and stuff that I've sort of spoken with or followed online for a while but never met in person. It was really good. It was a hell of a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I didn't place with my Vulcan model. But I'm not that I'm not bothered, but I'm not sad about it. The level of painting that was on display was absolutely ridiculous.
Gone Demon is a thing. It is a level of crazy.
But I had a hell of a lot of fun. It was a great weekend, and I'm looking forward to going to next year's. I've already booked my hotel.
Nice.
So
is this the one in Manchester?
Yeah.
Nice. I'm thinking about making a trip up there. Are you going for all weekend?
Yes, I will be there from the Friday night until Monday morning.
Okay, I'm gonna have a think. I'm not 100% sure I can do the entire weekend because my brother's stag do is the weekend after. So I'm gonna be out that weekend as well, and 2 weekends of not being around.
It should definitely come up.
I'll come. Yeah, I might just be a day thing then. Might not be the
enough.
entire weekend.
So I did Golden Demon. That was fun. I have got a follow-up video planned, but I've not had a chance to record that yet. It's logistics for that one, but it's going to be fun when I do that, I think, nice. And it'll be interesting. And then most recently, I put out my beginner's guide for miniature painting.
I saw that. It was a very good one.
Yeah, do you know what? I often get lost and forget that a large portion of my audience and just the hobby in general is people that are sort of new and that are coming in and that are, they're just starting out on that journey. And when we do videos and when we speak to people and stuff, we forget that, when we use terms like when we just say, oh yeah, I just did a glaze on this and dry brush this and I zenithal this, and these are all terms that some people don't know what they mean because they're not familiar with them, because they've gone to Games Workshop, they've got a model and they've just slapped a base layer on it and that's it.
Right.
So I wanted to go through sort of like a step by step and explain what each thing is and what it is that I'm doing and why I'm doing it, but not in like a condescending way.
Yeah.
But just in a, like, if you are brand new to the hobby and you want to know, like, someone says, oh, you need to prime your model, you might not know what that means, and you might not know what you need to use or what you can use, or do you know what I mean? Stuff like that. And I thought I'll do it in a video. I did think about doing it as like a series of smaller videos, but then I just thought I can do all this in one video. It made more sense.
It's very considerate of you doing that, because I've been doing this for so long now that it's as you say, you forget. You forget that you know all these terms and all these things, and I think I'm evolving into the step of old man where I'm not going to tell you my secrets anymore kind of element. But yeah,
I just looked at it. Yeah,
it's good. It's really good as well. It's nice seeing that tutorial. I think the takeaway I took away from that is maybe I should start teaching again, like doing tutorials. I'm just trying to figure out a way to do it, because seeing that I was like, yeah, maybe I should tell people how I should do things. But I am thinking about doing a couple of follow-up videos, sort of like some more advanced techniques, or like you've done this one and you're happy with those results, and here's how you can push them a bit further maybe. So like doing maybe an intermediate, and then I don't know if I can do an advanced one, because I'm not like that sort of painter, but sure, yeah,
maybe explaining some of the bits. So I'm thinking about doing some follow-ups for that.
But you could always just document your journey as you become a better painter as well, which is
I mean, to be fair, that's pretty much what my channel is. It's just showing off stuff that I'm working on, and if I go back and look at stuff that I used to paint and then on videos, and then look at stuff now, I'm like, oh yeah, I have improved. That's good.
It's like, yay, I'm getting better.
Woo! So that's what I've done video wise. In terms of painting, I've been working on quite a lot. I can't remember if I mentioned what I was painting for work. I don't think I did, because I think I started it after Golden Demon. But I painted a giant snail.
Oh, I saw the pictures of that on on one of your shows.
Yeah, so I painted a giant snail for work. That video I think is coming out. Well, it'll already be out by the time this podcast goes out. I think that's coming out tomorrow, Sunday.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
So I finished painting it. The painting is done. I had a hell of a lot of fun working on it. And then it is now with Luke, and he is building a massive sort of orc fortress on its back.
Oh, cool.
Which I have seen, and it looks insane when I saw it, and there's more stuff to go on it, so it's going to look even more insane by the time it's done. So yeah, that video should be out Sunday, I think. Luke's editing that one.
Okay, I'm intrigued to see that, because you've been editing a lot of the videos recently, haven't you?
All of the videos.
So I'm intrigued.
Since I started working with Luke has edited one video.
Okay, I am intrigued.
I mean, it is my job. So
yeah. I'm just intrigued to see how Luke, what it's like, because I've been really enjoying the.
I double checked and I said, "Are you sure?" And he said yes. So yeah, okay. Luke's editing that one. I think mainly because I'd got the video that came out yesterday to finish editing, right? And Luke had not finished working on the snail, and the video needs to go out Sunday. So we were conscious that we wouldn't get everything out if I had to do everything.
Sure. Okay.
So yeah, Luke's working on that one. I've been working on my own solo video where I'm painting up some Aeronautica models.
Okay.
That's for Geek Gaming Scenics, which will probably be out maybe towards the back end of next week, maybe the start of the week after. I'm not 100% sure yet.
Okay.
Because I've not finished filming it yet. But I've been working on that because I've been working from home a lot. Basically, Luke and his entire household have been ill for the last 2 weeks, pretty much. Which has meant that I've been into the studio twice to film, and then the rest of the time I've been at home editing stuff that we'd already got filmed, and then I started filming this so that I was actually doing something for the channel.
Gotcha.
So that's been fun. And then on top of that, what else have I worked on recently? Painting wise, I've painted a couple of random bits where I've just been trying out some new paints. Like I've got a 3D skeleton bust that I printed, and I've been trying out some UV paints on that.
Nice.
For the eyes, so they glow and stuff. I've started work on the big Star Wars project.
Nice to see.
Yeah, so I'm about halfway through building all of my stuff, and I have run out of space in my cabinet for all my Star Wars stuff. So I need to move my Vulcan model and the picture that's in that top shelf so that I can put Star Wars stuff in there. But I've basically got everything that I've already got built again, and a tank and loads of characters. Yeah. Bit
ambitious with you. Like, I'm just going to smash it out in a month.
Well, that was the plan. The plan was to get it all done this month, but then I had other bits that I wanted to get my Golden Demon video out. I didn't want to leave that a month after the fact.
Sure.
So I started off the month with that.
Yep.
Getting that finished.
Yep.
Editing stuff. And then I thought, right, once this is edited out, then I can focus on it.
Yep.
And that went out on the 10th.
Yep. And then what happened?
And then what happened is I had a sponsor for a video, and I had to film a video for that.
Yep.
That sponsor, by the way, quick side note, Anthems of War, this is a separate plug that I'm not being paid for.
Okay.
That rule system looks really interesting.
Okay.
So we'll speak about it in a bit, but it looks really interesting. I'll put a link in the description if you want to check Anthems of War out. It's a brand new game system made by a small independent company. I think it's just one man. It is a really interesting take on tabletop skirmish gaming.
Okay.
So I highly recommend checking that out. But so I had a video to record for the ad for that.
Yep.
So that's why I did my complete beginner's guide.
Yep.
And here we are. I have been building. I think if I had spent all month just doing Star Wars stuff, it would be done. That's the upsetting thing. But
sadly,
I have
you
are
a content creator.
Yeah. I am literally a professional at this point.
Yeah. So
it's not quite gone as well as I'd like it to, and the big Star Wars project might end up being something that It might be something that I can't really get back to until December now. Maybe I'm going to try and get as much stuff built as I can before the end of this month, but I have a Skaven army for Age of Sigmar that I need to get built before the end of November because me and my friend are going to Warhammer World at the end of November for Warhammer.
Yes.
So,
I think at some point we should maybe this is the idea for the new year, is that Star Wars project. You bring it down here, and we will complete it. Like
I want to do it by myself. I don't.
Are you sure?
Yes, I am capable. It's just.
Yeah, I know. I'm curious if I can focus and funnel you and train you to be pure Daniel.
It's not that's not the issue. The issue is that I have too many other things that I kind of want to do / need to do for the channel.
Yes.
Part of it is, if I'm being completely honest, that I want to do a video for it.
Yeah.
But I know that Star Wars Legion isn't. It sounds really, really bad, but Star Wars Legion will not get as much clicks as like Warhammer stuff because it's not Games Workshop and it's not Warhammer.
Yes.
And that is a cynical point of view, I guess, but it's one of those things that I am conscious of, and I don't know if that's having an effect on how much I'm doing for it. Like, I have got a lot of stuff built, and I've built. I want to leave enough stuff so that I can film some building footage.
Sure.
But then everything else I'm trying to get built in advance.
It makes
so
sense.
that it's all built. Painting wise, it won't take long.
No.
Because the majority of what I've got is B1 battle droids, and they take no time at all.
Yeah. Well, that's why we could either that, or if I come up for a visit at some point, we just like we could just smash out the building, and then obviously you can do your filming for bits and bobs while we're doing it, but we could just get them all built in a day.
We'll have a think. I'm hoping that if I don't get it done now, then it's going to be my Christmas project.
Okay.
Which is what I said last year. But it needs to stop. It needs to end. I've been buying Star Wars Legion stuff now and acquiring it for over a year, and so far I have 4 B1 battle droids and 1 Obi-Wan Kenobi finished.
Yes.
Hence
why I think the help of the Grand Master of Army completions.
Do you know what? That's going to be my video. It's just going to be, listen, I'm just going to prove Elston wrong. I'm just going to get it all done in a day.
Like, this is me proving you wrong, Elston. That's all the title is. It's not going to get very much clicks, but it'll be amazing for us.
Yeah, but it's a big mic dropping it. So that's pretty much everything I've been working on. Outside of that, there's a couple of other things I've started on. So I got the new Kill Team box last week. Shadow Vaults, that one?
Yep.
Yeah, I got the Shadow Vaults box set that Games Workshop sent me, and I've started working on. I can talk about it now. So I've started working on the Knollwood Underworld set as well, which again Games Workshop sent me. The skeletons in that are absolutely gorgeous. I've started working on those for on the Knollwood set for a video.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, but that's about it for projects that I've been working on.
I'm gonna have to start putting a caveat or like a sort of cautionary thing at the beginning of me asking you what have you been working on, because the amount of stuff that you are doing, I'm like, okay, that took 20 minutes. So
I know. I'm really sorry. I think it's because it's because I work on stuff for me and then I also work on stuff for work. So it's like double the stuff. Like you work on stuff, and like it sounds like I work on more than you, but I don't. Because the amount, like you'll go, oh, I've been working on my whatever army, but then what you don't say is that army is like 1 million models.
Yeah, I definitely don't sell it as much as I.
Yeah, whereas I say I've been working on some Aeronautica stuff, and that's 4 tiny ships. So, okay, so after that. Massive, long, huge, throbbing section about what I've been working on.
Is that what we would classify as a recap?
Yeah, last time on my life.
Previously on Wargamers and Art.
So yeah, let's move on to the main topic. And the main topic of this video is miniature paint and more specifically, our recommendations. So this is going to be basically just us recommending either individual, like specific paints, or entire ranges, or types of paint, or whatever. Because I think between the two of us, we've used a lot of paint and we own a lot of paint. And it's one of those questions that gets asked a lot. It comes up a lot in like Facebook groups and things like that. Like, what's the best paint? What's the best paint for beginners? What does everyone use? And blah, blah, blah. And I think it's one of those things. I think it's the same as brushes. People fixate on it a little bit too much.
Yeah, right.
Because I think the assumption that a lot of people have is that if you use a better paint, then it will make you a better painter, which isn't always correct. So go on.
I was just going to say, this is going to be relatively condensed. The subject could be monstrous, so we're going to, it's going to be compact. So there'll be things we leave out of this, but
it's one of those things. So like, to start off with, I am just going to come out and say, Citadel paint for people just getting into the hobby, for beginners, Citadel paint, barring a couple of exceptions within the range, is good paint. And I know that I know it's Games Workshop, so a lot of people just automatically dislike it. And I know
sucking on GW's teat.
It's just, for me, I used Games Workshop paint. I used Citadel paint for the majority of my time in the hobby. It's only really been over the last 2-3 years that I've experimented and started looking at other stuff and trying other stuff. And the main reason for that is it's readily available. Literally any hobby shop will sell Games Workshop paints. Like they might sell other stuff as well. And they like some will sell Army Painter, some will sell Vallejo and whatever, but they will all sell Games Workshop stuff, and they will pretty much all have most of the range as well.
You absolute if chill out.
So it's not that it's readily available, and I think, like I said, barring a couple of colours, it is perfect for beginners. Now,
I have something else to minutely throw in on that. The GW pots are actually great for beginners because you can take out of the pot without having to. Most of the other paint ranges imply that you have to have a palette. Where I would always advise having a palette, but the GW paint pots, you don't necessarily need a palette. So
you should definitely use a palette though.
Yes, you should use it, but
you don't need one. Yeah,
if you're at the very beginning, very very beginning, and I'm trying to take my mind back into that, you don't necessarily need it.
The other reason that I recommend GW stuff for people just getting into the hobby. A friend of mine recently, he got back into the hobby, and when he asked what paints he'd need for his army, and I recommended a load of Citadel stuff, he was like, "Well, that's not what you use. I thought you'd recommend the stuff that you use." Now, the main paint that I use are the Proacryl range. I like them because they cover really well. I like the colours. I like the finish on them. The reason that I don't recommend those to people, especially just getting into the hobby or just getting back in, is for me, I really like the coverage and they are fantastic for that. But then if you're trying to do things like glazing, layering, things like that, they need a lot more work to get them to the point where you can do that. Like you can absolutely do that sort of stuff with them, but because they're so opaque, you need to thin them down a hell of a lot, and then they become harder to control. And for people just get it. Go on.
Yeah, they're also just a little bit of a matte finish compared to the satin, so it can throw people off sometimes.
That's it. I like the matte finish, but for people just getting in, having that slightly satin finish, it adds a few sort of highlights onto stuff. So if you've not highlighted stuff up quite as much, it kind of does that for you a little bit, and it just helps to sell, your highlighted areas on models. Yeah. So just straight out the gate, I would say Citadel as a whole. Like there are some exceptions. We all know, White Scar is awful. And To be fair, a lot of paint ranges, the whites aren't very good. But yeah.
Also, GW have the contrast paint range, which is a godsend for beginners. Like, I would highly recommend getting started going with contrast because it's phenomenal. That stuff. It's going to help you out no end.
So I've already mentioned a couple. I've mentioned the Citadel range, which I guess, does include contrast paint. I'm not sure whether I'd class that as a separate range, but
it's still part of Citadel, isn't it? But it is kind of it's a very different
type of thing.
Yeah, it's a very different paint. So I'm guessing that's a caveat as well with the manufacturers we're mentioning. There are like different types within all of the different manufacturing, like Army Painter, Citadel, Pro Acryl. All of them have kind of got different things that do really well. So
well, that's the thing I think, and it's important to remember. There isn't any one paint range that is better, and you can just use that one and be amazing and not need anything else. Like, it's always better to mix and match and use different things for different things that you know that they're good at.
Dare I say it? Shall I jump straight to the end and basically say the best paint that you need is the one you like the most?
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, sorry, just to cut that into put the end in the middle. Yeah, basically, you'll find the paints you like, but we're just going to give you some advice on things to maybe have a look at, to maybe experiment with. I wouldn't ever really say, now that I've been doing this for all these years, I would never really say buy one of the mega paint sets. There's no real point. You will never get round to using all of them. Like, if it's got like 50 paints.
I can confirm.
Yes, it's not really like, if you get a paint set which has maybe got 10 to 20 in them, I'd probably say even like 20 is a bit much. But if you got a set which has got like 10 paints, that's okay, because you can like, okay, cool, I've got a bit of a.
So I'm going to jump in and contradict you there.
Okay.
Counter argument. I would say that generally, yes, I would agree. I don't buying like an entire range of paint. Unless you've tried it and you know, or you've seen it used and you know that you want to use that, or you're just generally in the market for a new range of paint, then because that was always one of the things that put me off trying new stuff. Was I was like, I don't just want to buy like a random bottle of paint, because I might buy that one bottle of paint from that range that isn't any good, and then I'm judging the entire range based on that. But then I don't just want to buy a few, because then it's kind of, because the finishes are different. I want to see how they all interact. Now, there's a couple of ranges that I would recommend, the box sets, and that's pretty much because they save you money, and I recommend them. So the first is what I've already mentioned, is Pro Acryl. Yep.
Those are the ones I was kind of leaning into the exception of having the smaller box sets.
Yeah, because they're not. It's not one full set. It is multiple smaller boxes and expansions and stuff. The one that I would recommend, and it's specific for airbrushing. If you airbrush a hell of a lot, and that's like what you do for getting base coats down, or if you just like using the airbrush, I would highly recommend the big mega set of airbrush paints.
Okay, from Army Painter?
From Army Painter, yeah.
Yes.
Purely because those paints have made airbrushing a hell of a lot nicer to do. I never have to thin any of them down. They are all absolutely spot on, straight out the bottle. And just being able to go, oh, I need this color. Oh yeah, there it is, and it's already ready. And I don't have to go, oh well, how do I mix this one down? How much does this need thinning compared to this other one?
That's really interesting. I got sent that mega paint set from Dana Howe, so I've got that to test out, and I've not got around to it yet. So
I really like them because the Pro Acryl stuff is nice through the airbrush, but it's just having to know. Like, I mean, to be fair, the Pro Acryl stuff is pretty consistent, so it's once you know how to thin one of them, most of them are the same. But like stuff like Citadel stuff or Army paint, like their regular paints or other paint ranges, like you have to kind of know each paint and how much you need to thin that paint for it to work.
Yeah.
Whereas the Army Painter Air range is fantastic, just straight out the bottle. And that's, if I'm airbrushing stuff, that is generally what I'm using. I don't tend to, other than like other specific paints that I'll be using for a specific effect or something, I am generally always using the air paints.
Okay, interesting. Now I'm going to throw a couple out that I personally love. They are both an interesting thing, and I would say they're more on the intermediate to advanced end of paint. So once you're a little bit practiced with the other ones, these ones will be worth having a look into. That's the Scale Color range from Scale 75 and the Vallejo Metal Color range. The Vallejo Metal Color is a wonderful metallic, but you need to be like a little bit experienced with metallics to get the full effect for these to just be beneficial, because they can separate if they're not done right, and it can go a little bit weird. Yeah. But as long as you're like, if you understand how it works, it can be brilliant. The Scale Color stuff is really interesting because it's like a gel style paint. So it comes out really thick, almost like a gloop, essentially, but you thin it down, and much like the Proacryl range, it comes out matte, essentially. But you can, depending on what you want to do with them, if you thin them, they go on so thinly that they make glazing and transitions and gradients amazing to do. Like also the Scale Color metal range is phenomenal as well. But it takes a little bit of getting used to. You can throw them on opaque. They're great for that. That's what I did my B1 battle droids with Scale Color birch. And all dry brush with that, and it just looks incredible. But you need to shake them up. And this is one thing as well. Some of these dropper bottle ones, Army Painter original paints, I don't know if they've sorted out the thing yet. You might need a vortex mixer to actually get the best out of them, because
they've added ball bearings to their original paints now, which will help a little bit. I'm not sure if they've changed the formula so that they're a bit better. But yeah, they've definitely added ball bearings though. Okay,
that's good, because some of the Army Painter paints were a little bit like straight out of the bottle. With a pole? A pole? What's a pole? A bottle. Army Painter is also another type of paint which I would recommend for beginners to have a look into. They're cheaper, and they get you your first kind of experience with dropper bottles, essentially. Another one, the monster in the room, which I've kind of mentioned, is Vallejo. They are just on an end of like, well, we've pretty much got everything covered apart from the contrast range. I think
they've got some stuff coming out, haven't they?
I would imagine they have. They are. If
they're, what's his name? I can't remember his name. The guy that paints with contrast paint.
Juan.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, Hidalgo. Oh, has he started practicing with some?
He showed him off on a video. That is their version of contrast paint, because obviously everyone has to have their own range of contrast paint now. Yeah,
that's fair enough. It's the new fun thing in the room. So, but yeah, Vallejo. To be honest with you, I think they've got everything covered. I don't know. Do you know?
My issue with Vallejo is that they've got that many different ranges.
Because they're so big that it's a problem.
Because it's just like, you buy from Games Workshop, you know what you're getting. You've got your paints, you've got your contrast paints. That's it. You buy from Army Painter, and it's clearly marked. Like, this is the air range, and it says it on the bottle, and this is the normal range, and this is the speed paint range. Yeah, and then you've got Vallejo, and they must have like about, I don't even know how many different ranges.
I want to say they're creeping into the thousands mark element of like different paints.
But then I don't know what the difference is between all those ranges.
So
Because
the common denominator is model or game is the original thing.
but what does that mean?
Right.
Like,
so
Army Painter have Army Painter paints, and then they have Army Painter air paints. They are for the airbrush. Like
right.
that. I use models in games. So much do I need?
So I'll explain it. And here's for everyone at home. The difference between model and game. So that's the main thing to watch out for, because you'll get game color and game air.
Oh my god!
Right. So well, air is for airbrush.
Yeah.
Game color is for normal brush. So that's the only difference.
But then what's the model stuff?
The model color. So the difference between model and game is verging more into the Games Workshop bright saturated colors, like, goblin green and the yellows and the reds, and everything's really vibrant and saturated. Model color leans more into what we would maybe interpret as realistic, or like desaturated elements. So you'll find a lot more like sedated colors in there.
So
essentially,
Vallejo game is all the interesting colors, and Vallejo model is all the boring colors.
What you'll find out is a lot of the model colors are great for stuff like weird things like tattoos and stuff, because they're like really, like if you try and do a tattoo using a dark blue from the game art, it comes out really vibrant. Whereas if you switch to using a dark blue from the model range, it's a lot more muted and it will blend nicer. It just kind of fits more within that. Yeah. So those are the main two elements of Vallejo, essentially, and that's where it gets quite confusing, because you get model color and model air, which are basically the same colors. One's for paintbrush, one's for air, and then you get game color and game air, and again, one's for airbrush, one's for normal brush. Those are the two big monsters in the Vallejo range. You get like stuff like Panzer Races and the various other stuff like that. Yeah. But they're more like specific. Panzer Race is more for historical elements and stuff like that. But yeah, that's the main two differences between the Vallejo side of things, and then they got all their other bits and bobs.
I mean, I've only had very limited experience with Vallejo, purely because it's, like I mentioned earlier, I don't just want to buy random paints from a range that I don't know if I will want or not, and then I don't know how those paints will compare to the rest of the range. So it's one that I would need to buy a big chunk at once and try them. But I have used their metal colour, or one of them at least. I've used the magnesium one, and it is gorgeous,
right? It's just, it comes out so thin but so opaque, and it's just like, oh, this is a treat. I will mention a little bit of a ugly duckling in the Vallejo range is the Vallejo Premium range, which no one really knows about, apart from I'm the only person I've ever seen using it, and they are big bottles. I think they are 60 ml bottles. But they are basically like white, black, red, blue, and they are
they're like single pigment.
Yeah. They are perfect for all your like base colors, because they come out thin enough that you could put them through an airbrush, or you can paint them on with a brush. But it's how I do all my base rims. You basically just buy a bottle of this. I think it's like a $5 for this black, and it will last you ages. So the premium range is one just to look out for if you're looking for like your base things that you use a lot of. Check out the Vallejo Premium range.
See, good. I still and always have and probably always will use Abaddon Black from Citadel for my base rims.
Yes.
Always have done. Love it.
Used to be Chaos Black, now is
used
Abaddon
to be Chaos Black, now it's Abaddon Black, because
Yeah.
This is something that I want to talk about. Paint names. Like
oh God. Right.
Why can't we? So recently I got the new Two Thin Coats paint range from the Duncan Roads painting place.
I know the names. And it's hurting my head already trying to figure out what they are.
It's Transatlantic Games.
Yeah.
That is the company, and it's Duncan Roads Painting Academy, and it's Two Thin Coats
Yes.
paint range. Yeah. Anyway, I got those, and one of the complaints that I always see people like throwing at Citadel and at Games Workshop is the names of paints, because they don't, unless you know that specific reference, then they don't really describe what the colours are.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And do you know what? That it's a fair complaint. It's just one of those things that I just kind of accept, because that is just the way that Games Workshop labels paint and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then this new paint range has come out, and it's not just them. Like there's a lot of paints that do it. I really like Pro Acryl, because they don't. They label their paints, and they generally are just like whatever the colours are.
Dark green.
Yeah. Well, that's
awesome.
it. Yeah, it is just like black green, dark green, camo green, and. Yeah, they're
nice.
a bit better. But so this one, they've released the paints, and they're done in a triad system. So you've got your base color, your mid-turn, and your highlight, and it's a darker green, a mid-green, and then a highlight green.
Right.
If you're doing that, why would you not just go, right, these are your greens. It goes, and this is green 1, green 2,
and green 3. Yeah. Well, dark green,
literally no
mid-green, light
confusion.
green.
Yeah, like I don't understand why we feel the need, especially like with Games Workshop. Like I say, it's the way it's always been, and I kind of understand it, because it's in relation to characters and models and stuff from their model range. But with a brand new paint range that doesn't have models attached to it or stuff attached to it, why not just label, like just call them like green 1, 2, 3.
I think it's
red
like
1, 2, 3.
I think it's probably like the artsy versus the efficient, and the artsy's won out on this one, but it's not necessarily a good thing.
No,
it's kind of like, it's cool. It's called this, and you're like, this. Everyone got really excited about it, and then the logistics person who had to deal with it afterwards went, "Oh, come
just
on,
because,
man."
because, like, I mean, to be fair, I don't remember a lot of the paint names for Games Workshop stuff, because they change them every now and then, which is more infuriating.
Yeah.
But these ones, I'm like, I'm not going to learn another 60 names of paint. I'm just going to go the dark red, the mid red, and then the light red when I'm talking about them to people, because that is a better description.
I mean, like, Games Workshop started off in a kind of good way with it, where if you go back to like GW, when they first started bringing out the Citadel paints, they had like bleached bone, and you're like, that makes sense. That's kind of a color which is like that. Goblin green, I was like, borderlining, and then white and black, chestnut ink, stuff
Enchanted
like that.
Blue.
Yeah.
Who says that enchantments have to be blue?
Yeah, I think that came in the like second round. I'm talking like the first round of things. It was like brown ink, black ink, and you're like, cool, okay, I could get on board with this. And then they just dove into like calling everything a certain thing. It
like I say, it all makes sense, and it's all to do with names of characters and units and models and stuff. And I get it, because it ties it all into your IP and stuff. So I do get it, but it's like, for me, for example, I was using XV88 for a long time. Right now, to anyone that doesn't know that, I've just said the name of a paint. If they don't know what that paint, well, that's it. If they don't know what color that paint is, me saying XV88 means absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
it's like a dark yellow, light brown, like diarrhea color.
You know what it's like? It's like when someone starts talking, if they're really efficient in a field of whatever, and they start using number codes instead of actually saying things. Like, do you remember when you first started getting into cameras, and Luke would come out and go, "Oh, it's this, and we're like, big boy wide lens."
Yeah.
And now
that's exactly what it is. Yeah, but then it's like that letters and numbers doesn't mean anything to people, and it didn't mean anything to me. I know what color it is because I use it, but I didn't know what the reference was until I happened to glance at some Tau stuff, and I saw, XV88. Oh yeah, that's a sort of weird off yellow brown color. That's obviously where that paint name's from. But I've been doing this hobby for like 20 years, and it was only like last year that I realized that's where that name was from.
Sure.
So. Anyway, that's my little rant about paint names.
Maybe at that point, I think we've probably thrown in enough, and we don't want this episode to go on too monstrously long.
No,
so
no.
maybe
Well, before we move on to the final section of the podcast, then, can you give me your top 3 paints? Don't have to be from the same range. Like your top 3 that you find yourself reaching for and using on a regular basis.
Okay. Contrast paints from Citadel.
No, individual paints.
Actual.
Not Rangers.
Okay. You've caught me off. Black Templar from the Contrast range. I use that a hell of a lot because it's great over anything. If you want to get a black thing with highlights, it's great for that. I want to go with probably Pro Acryl Ivory. He's quite a common one.
Yeah.
And 3 is really hard, but I'm going to say Cadian Flesh Tone. I use that for all bases for any skin tone ever. And then obviously darken and highlight accordingly. I'd say those are my 3. There are so many, but I think those are ones I will default go to for most projects. How about you?
For me, it would be I can't remember what it's called. It's lime green, I think, or yellow green.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Pro Acryl,
right? Yeah,
which is the bright green because it's me.
Yep.
I really like Mephiston Red,
right?
From Citadel. That is one of my favourite reds.
Very nice red.
I try and use that as much as I can. And then I would say probably Skeleton Horde contrast paint.
Okay.
Just because I find it's very versatile for a lot of things.
Yes.
Like not just burn, like it's good for a lot of other things, especially if you like thin it down and use it as a glaze or as a slight shade rather than a contrast as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. Like Gilliman Flesh is one I really like as well.
You've had your 3.
I know. But yeah, it's as I said, this is a very compact edition of like.
It is.
We could talk a lot more about this, but yeah.
At some point, I will be doing a video on paints.
Ooh.
So yeah, maybe you can come up and help me with that.
Maybe I can. We should look into doing that. Can we move on to the fun part?
Yes, let's move on to Snack Attack. So obviously it's been a few weeks since we've done the podcast, so it's been a few weeks since we've been able to sit and snack together.
I'm looking forward to this one.
So for this week, for Snack Attack, Elston asked me yesterday what I wanted to do for Snack Attack. And I'll be honest, I didn't want to have to go out to the shop. So I looked at my desk and I saw sat on my desk in a glorious blue and white packet, a packet of Oreos. Now, they are biscuits, or maybe you call them cookies, or something in America. I don't know. They're biscuits. Have you just got the regular ones? I've got the double cream ones.
I went in and lots of them were on offer. And I was looking at the double cream. There's also chocolate. There was a party one.
There's the brownie ones I want to try.
Yeah, I opted just for normal.
Well, I've got the double cream ones because, we all love double cream.
So here's an interesting thing about Oreos, which I found out. The first time I tried Oreos, I was in America. And Oreos, I believe, are American.
Yes,
American.
I think so, originally.
Yeah. They used to turn your tongue blue.
What?
Yeah, right? It was weird. They used to turn your tongue... I know. They used to turn your tongue blue. It was very strange. It was a really weird thing. We're going back, 20 years now, I think. So, when food had a lot more chemicals and stuff that were probably...
like when Sunny D turned you orange.
Yeah, and also made you shit a lot. But, I'm sure we will see the effects of all that stuff in a couple of years' time. Anyway, yeah, apparently it turned my tongue blue. Now, I have something to say about Oreos.
Okay.
As I said, they're American. They are the one true contender to what Spritz would class as like the sandwich biscuit. So we're talking like custard creams, bourbon biscuits
and stuff. Yeah.
I say Oreos are the one true contender from across the pond that I will happily go, yeah, these are just as good. They are lighter though. I find like you can eat a lot of these compared to like bourbon biscuits.
I think that might just be optical illusion that though, because because you don't get as many in a packet, whereas bourbons and custard creams specifically, like, I mean, do you buy the ones where you get like 2 stacks of them in a packet? So you get a lot more in one of those, and I could quite easily polish off one of those packets in a session. So. How do you eat your Oreos? Do you just eat them as they are, as a thing, or do you do twist? Because I twist the top off mine, and then I have the cream off the one that I've twisted off, and then I have the cream that's left on the bottom one, and then I eat the biscuits afterwards.
Right. No, I'm a full on chomper. I'm going in.
You like, just ram it in.
I try to tactically like chomp it in half. It never works because it always like crumbles a bit. But I'm very much a sandwich person of like trying to get all the textures and flavors in one hit, rather than like, I know a lot of people do the twist thing, but it's never appealed to me. I'm like, but you could have the biscuit and the cream at the same time. Why would you?
I saw people doing it on an advert once, and then that's how I've eaten Oreos ever since.
Well,
not that advertising works on me.
Now I just realised I do a certain thing, and I don't know if anyone else at home does this. For the chompers out there, they go for the bite. With Oreos, they're kind of a lighter biscuit compared to like bourbons and custard creams. I think they're a little bit on the lighter side, as I mentioned. If you tactically bite, you can just like, you don't have to actually connect your teeth. You can like, it'll just kind of snap. It's I don't know if anyone else does this or thought about this. Or I think about this way too much, but I just did it just then. I was like, and I just snapped it off. And it's I don't know, it's a weird kind of mentality I have with eating these things. Oh, yeah, I love it though.
Say bourbon.
Bourbon.
That's not how you were pronouncing it.
How was I pronouncing it?
You were saying it bourbon.
Bourbon? Bourbon?
Bourbon?
Bourbon? Was I going Brit?
Was I going to eat my bourbon? Tally ho, what?
Go from pure southern bourbon. Like that.
Yeah.
I think I've been doing the narrator voice too much. It's like, oh, get my bourbon biscuits.
Yeah. Anyway, I really like Oreos. They're not exactly an obscure thing. Everyone will know what they are, whether you like them or not. But yeah, I really like them. They're not... Now, I'm not saying that you can't, but for me, they're not a dunking biscuit.
Yeah.
Like you can do, absolutely you can do. And I think perhaps the cream in the middle will help keep the biscuit together. So it's not...
Yeah, it doesn't seem like the biscuit is porous enough to like absorb, right?
But yeah, you can absolutely dunk them. But for me personally, I probably wouldn't. I like a nice digestive for dunking. That is my or a hobnob. Hobnobs dunked in tea or coffee that's where it's at.
Okay, nice.
Okay, so we should do some scores.
Yeah.
I think.
I was just having a look at Oreos, and the reason why they're blue, I believe, is because they used to turn your mouth blue, but they are owned by a company called Mondelez, which I believe owns Cadbury's. Subsidiaries Cadbury's, Nabisco. They own Cadbury's, Nabisco, Cliff, Chipita, Lou, Freeg, Terabusi, Sawa, Probably they are like the corporation Jacobs, Pascal, Dewey Egberts, the Natural. Yeah, they own a lot.
Yeah. Well, good for them.
Yeah, good for them, Mr. Monopoly Corporation. Score time.
Score time indeed. So let me just let me get a notepad open so that I can make a note. In fact, I can just do this later. So first off the bat, then we have packaging. So packaging, they come in. The packaging's nice enough. It's just a foil wrapper. It shows what they are. On mine, there's like one laid down and one stood up.
The only little niggle I would have is if you don't finish a packet, you've got to find a way to seal it.
Let's be honest, who's not finishing a packet of Oreos in one sitting?
Right. But that's the same with any biscuit or cookie thing at the end of the day. So,
I think the package is nice. It's striking enough. It does stand out compared to a lot of the other packets of biscuits at the shop because it's, bright colours and stuff, and it stands out a bit for me. So I'm going to give the packaging an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. 8 out of 10.
I think it's nice and bold. It stands out, and it does what it needs to do. It shows you what it is, and it's easy to get into as well. Like sometimes biscuits, like they open weird, so like you kind of end up crushing the top one or like damaging it a bit.
It's like the same as a cracker packet, where it's kind of like folded and glued, and So 8 out of 10, I think.
Next up, we have finger residue contamination.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you do get a few crumbs, but that's just a quick. You get crumbs from biscuits and stuff. I don't think these are overly offensive in that manner.
No, not at all. So I go with an 8.
Yeah, I think 8 is fair. I think I'd be tempted to go for a 9, but I think 8 is more realistic score for finger contamination. They're not oily or greasy or anything, but you do get the odd crumb, and it depending on how you eat it.
Yeah, and the fact that you can feel the crumbs as well kind of gives off, like, after you've taken a bite, you're like, oh, yeah, I've got stuff on my fingers. So but it's like you instantly wipe it off, sort of thing.
I'm going to go with 8 out of 10 as well for that. And then weight to chew ratio.
They go pretty quick, don't they?
They do go pretty quick, yeah. Like you said, they're quite light, but then each biscuit there's a lot to it as well, because there's obviously 2 biscuits and then the cream in the middle. I don't know. I think weight to chew, I don't think they're like a poor performer. They're not like crisps.
No.
But they're not...
I'd say somewhere between a 6 and a 7.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go more towards a 7.
Yeah,
I think for me, like a better weight to chew ratio would be something like, have you ever had like chocolate hobnobs or the chocolate caramel digestives that
they chew for days.
Yeah, stuff like that. Like they are top of the field for biscuits.
Right.
I'm going to go for a 7 for these because there's a decent amount of chew there, but it's not quite. Yeah, it's not quite that sort of. You always feel like each biscuit should take a little bit longer to eat, and it doesn't. And then last one we have mouthfeel.
Not too bad. Not too bad. I don't seem to be overly aggravated. I think the cream does help. Obviously, like soothing it, so it's not just like a jarring biscuit. Like it's not like just eating a cracker. They're okay. They're up there with I
don't think they're particularly offensive. I think they are absolutely fine. They don't leave any weird like aftertaste.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not. I'm not feeling like aggravated in the mouth. I guess, and this is the whole point with mouthfeel is like afterwards, do you feel like you need to go get a drink or something like that?
Yeah. Do you need to like flush it out or anything?
I guess the only thing is it kind of gets, but this is true for all biscuits, is it kind of gets a little bit gets stuck in your teeth. But I don't really think we've ever really been classing stuff getting stuck in your teeth as part of this. So
not really. I think we did with popcorn a little bit.
But that was,
like, I mean, to be fair, like biscuits and stuff, like not as much. Like these are nowhere near as bad as, for example, hobnobs would be.
Yes, correct. Yeah, okay. You get loads. So yeah, I don't think they're bad at all.
No, I'm going to go for a 9 out of 10 for mouthfeel because I think these are, you eat these and once you've finished eating these, your mouth feels fine.
Yeah. I'm gonna rock them at 8 because the only reason why I think all biscuits, now that I'm thinking about it, they do kind of get stuck in my teeth a bit and it bugs me a little bit. But that's only a personal thing. Apart from that, yeah, if I wasn't including that, I probably would go 9. So, but I'll go with 8 just because of that factor.
Yeah. Okay. So, just overall scores then. What would you give Oreos as a wargaming snack? Overall score.
I reckon they're 9.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same. A solid 9 out of 10.
They're high up in the wargaming snack department because you can just pick them up, eat them. It's no real issue with them at all. They've got a trump card over like stuff like chocolate digestives or any chocolate elements because you don't have chocolate melting on your fingers or anything like that.
Yeah, but you still get the chocolate flavour from the biscuit.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, good solid 9 out of 10, I reckon Oreos.
There we go. Oreos, approved by Wargamers Anonymous, 9 out of 10, would recommend. And with that ends the show. We are at the end of another podcast. Once again, sorry that we've been away for a few weeks and podcasts have been a bit sporadic over the last 2-3 months. Yeah. We are back to his normal schedule now, back to his normal routine. So every 2 weeks you'll get a new episode. I have got some potential guests lined up as well that I want to do either for standalone episodes or for as regular ones. I've not told Elston about these yet.
No, this is news to me. Ooh.
Yeah, so it's a surprise for everyone. None of them are concrete yet, so I don't want to say any names, but in talks with stuff. But yeah, if you enjoyed the podcast, if you enjoyed the show, leave us a like, leave us a review, leave us a comment if you're on YouTube. Let us know what you think. Let us know any topics that you'd like us to talk about. Come and jump into the Pickle Jar Discord linked down below and check out the Wargamers Anonymous section on there. We've got different channels set up for snack attack suggestions, episode suggestions, stuff like that. Just come and get involved in the discussion and let us know what you think.
Yeah, fill your ear holes with our essence.
Yes, do that. As well. Elston, where can people find you out there on the World Wide Web?
I'm going to be sensible for once, and you can find me on Elstonation on YouTube. There's Elstonation Minis on Facebook. There's Elstonation on Instagram, and you could, if you want to really like chat to me, Pickle Jar Discord server is probably one of the best places. Just tag me. Otherwise, I don't really keep a track on it that much. So if you do want to talk to me, just message me. As Pickles said, and as we've confirmed, we're very busy people, though. So if we don't get back to you straight away, don't worry. We'll try to do our best to get back to you when we can.
Yeah.
As
for me, you can find me on my channel, The Pickle Jar, or on my live stream channel, Pickle Vision, both linked down below in the description. If you want to get in touch with me, you can reach me on Discord. Again, just tag me. I do try and be as active as I can on my Discord. So yeah, tag me on there as well. As well as that, there's also Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook if you want to follow any of my profiles on there.
Also.
And that about does it. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. We hope you've enjoyed, and we'll catch you again in a couple of weeks for another episode of Wargamers Anonymous. Take care, guys.
Bye. Oh, this is the point where we need to end the podcast somehow.
Well, we say that, but then we actually ended it quite professionally, and then we just stick this on at the end because this is just what we do.
Well, I think
so. We don't know how to start a podcast, But we do know how to end one, but to fit in with our brand, we just pretend that we don't.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's all about timing and the fact that I usually throw a big old spanner in the works and go, okay, right, I'm going to talk like a weirdo. Oh, I should do the narrator. Let's do the narrator. Oh, hello, everyone. This is the end of the podcast. I said podcast weird. That's really weird. Anyway, hello, everyone. How are you? Goodbye.